Hey everyone, it's Stranger Grayson here. Welcome back to another horror movie review. Today we are looking at a third entry in the Psycho franchise, and which is actually directed by Anthony Perkins, the guy who plays Norman Bates in all the movies, besides the remake, of course. Anthony Perkins actually directed this one, and that is Psycho 3. This is another Scream Factory release, collector's edition, as you can see up top here. Anthony Perkins directs the third film in the franchise. This is the back here, just the label. This is kind of a sort of weird entry. It definitely ranked out the body count a little more, and a lot of blood, a lot more nudity in this movie. So, what is Psycho 3 about? Psycho 3 follows after the events of Psycho 2. Norman Bates has been let free after the supposed murders made by Mary, who was played by Meg Tilly. I forgot to mention that in the Psycho 2 review. But Mary apparently killed all the people, which I won't spoil for you guys. And Norman Bates is let free. There is an investigative reporter who is wanting to, interview Norman Bates and kind of get his side of the story. Then before that, at the beginning of the movie, there is this nun, and she's having her doubts about God, saying there is no God and all that. And she's wanting to commit suicide by jumping off the church roof. And one of her sisters goes in there and tries to pull her off, to prevent her, and she accidentally falls over and hits the bottom floor, and she dies by accident. So the girl who was committing suicide took off, ran away. She wanted to get out of town. This kind of sort of has a main protagonist, but at the same time it doesn't, so you'd have to bear with me here. There's like a nun plot in this movie. But she decides to get out of town, and she eventually hitchhikes and comes across a guy. And he's taking her over to, in the area by Bates Motel. But, however, this dude's starting to act weird. He's sexually assaulting her, being a molester, and she gets him out of the car. He says some slang words and drives off, leaving her in the rain. Believe his name is Duke, and the girl's name is Maureen. And Maureen gets another hitchhike run, but Duke, the guy who molested her and all that, he gets a job at the Bates Motel because Norman Bates is actually looking for someone to hire from the sign that says help wanted, and he hires Duke without knowing what he actually did. Duke is just in there for the money. He doesn't care about the place. He just wants to get enough money and get out. He's not staying permanent. And Duke is also a singer. He plays guitar. Or he's not a singer. He just plays guitar, and he doesn't like anybody touching it. However, Norman Bates is also dealing with his own trauma. At the end of the last movie, he has a new mother figure now. And Mrs. Spool has gone missing. Hint, hint. Mrs. Spool has also gone missing in this movie. They're looking for her, unaware that Norman Bates is one of the causes behind it. And Norman Bates sees Maureen in the diner when he's getting an interview by the lady. But he also sees on her suitcase that it says MC, and he thinks that means Marion Crane, that she's back from the dead. However, turns out her actual name is Maureen Cotton or something like that. I know it's Maureen. I forgot the last name. But after that, Maureen comes to the Bates Motel, and let's just say things start getting weird and the body count starts rising. Psycho 3 was a sort of weird entry. It's not as good as Psycho 2, I gotta be honest. and not as good as the original. However, I do think Anthony Perkins directed this for the most part really well. There were some cringy moments, definitely was. Some stupid deaths, especially with one girl falling down the stairs and getting her head impaled. You'll see what I mean once that happens. It was total waste of character. There were some cool deaths though. I know one person got stabbed in a phone booth and their blood just went everywhere. So Anthony Perkins did an alright job directing. I don't think all of his directing ideas were that good. However, for the time, it was alright. Duke is a weird character because he's like an antagonist and then he becomes like a protagonist and then he turns back and there's like this whole twist with him. It was weird. That's one of my down points of this movie, or downfalls. I did not like that sort of climax or whatever, rising action. I didn't really understand it all that well. Trying to get famous and stuff. It just didn't really make that sense to me. It was kind of a waste of a character. It was kind of stupid plot. Maureen makes a good, solid protagonist. I do like, her interactions with Norman Bates. Norman Bates finally has a love interest. And Anthony Perkins as well does a great job portraying the Norman Bates character, as well as Mother. Just overall a good actor. They do bring a few people from the second movie back in this one, like the sheriff, the diner cook, and then a couple others. But other than that, that's all I can really think of. But yeah, overall, the ending was all right. It wasn't the best ending out of all of them, but still, it was all right to see Norman Bates, kind of freak out and all that. So, ending was all right. Anyways, that has been my review on Psycho 3. It was all right. If I had to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give this about an 8. 7.5 to an 8. Was not as good as the original or Psycho 2, but I still recommend checking this out. It's not that bad. So, but I want to hear everyone's thoughts on this if you have seen it. Let me know down in the comment section down below. And I will get Psycho 4 review out for you later. And I will see you on the next one. God bless and have a good day. Bye, everyone.